So just to summarize and cap up here, 344 videos. 345, okay. I warned your world. Sufficiently, I think. As much as I could warn your world. I said there'd be great winds and great fires and great earthquakes. From the book of Elijah, I quoted this passage to my president, who did nothing. And to many other people, the Vatican, the Church, newspapers, the Department of Justice, everyone. Many people, it's not easy working off a phone here, and the trauma and shit that I'm sorry, let me talk about myself. And then I said that you'll see it in the waters, specifically, because I thought this would be harmless. I said you'll see it in the waters, and I had a dream to confirm this, that they will see it in the waters. I didn't think this would be hard. I thought waters would just turn red and rain would turn red and stuff, and then there'd be very blatant sign, like you saw it in the world. Like even in New York City, they're like, we've had a blatant message here. We've never seen anything like this before. I said you see it in the waters, and didn't think that would be very fatal. But then there's like a drought everywhere, and all the lakes have disappeared, and all the rivers have disappeared. And then I warned you that I started to understand, because this is all looking very much like the Book of Enoch. People sitting around watching, and they're traitors, and they all get destroyed systematically. Bullying and bothering and watching. That it says then there will be a time of Nephilim. I'm good. I read Hebrew. I was a Hebrew scholar until everyone started hunting me and following me and copying me. I obviously stopped studying things like Hebrew, because then I'd have every gypsy infidel in the IRA studying Hebrew. And it's the last thing you ever want, they didn't come by this alphabet or this language. And I wouldn't even want them to know it or know about it. It creeped them out. Like, they used to think I had all these devil books, because they went through my apartment and they went through my stuff. Lots of books on Torah and Tanakh, and they thought it was creepy devil language. It was just funny, like the way they reacted to supposed to be a heavenly language. But yes, from brief studies of Enoch, Nephilim, it's probably a 3 or 4 letter word in Hebrew. Nephilim, I'd imagine. Maybe it's a 4-letter word. And I'm assume it means name not known, or name not spoken. Name not spoken, name not known. All your Christian kids are supposed to be known before they were born to God. He knows the day before you were conceived that you'll be having a baby tomorrow with your girlfriend or something. Something like this. But these are name not known, name not Nephilim. And I warned them about this, and this obviously means that the very natal and important part of life and birth will be drastically affected. So you'll probably see a lot of stillborn or deformed babies, or certain types of birth deficiencies, Nephilim, on Earth. Because you don't know what in the Book of Enoch, it's kind of poetical. You're not sure what Nephilim are. And this is happening now, and it's not documented too much in the world. I had a dream last night, and they were talking about it, and I could hear them talking about it. Birth problems happen all over the world. Nobody's really talking about it. I heard Africa are having it pretty badly, but you're seeing it in other countries as well. So this is approaching a death period, and I've there's original conquest, there's a Great Reset, and there's a conquest, and then loads of new gypsies get into power, and they're terrible, and there's not much the Pope or anyone can do about it unless you're working with me, which they're not. Death period. This is going to be approaching a death period, and you'll have infertility massive then. It probably will come to a point of infertility, but at the same time you'll also have war, famine, and plague on the earth. Now let those words sink in, because I always say, like, you just hear war and famine and plague in the Bible a lot, and in these kind of books, but you really need to let famine particularly sink in. There'll be no waters and rivers, nothing will be growing, there will be no food. You're approaching this because you're having an energy crisis and a cost of living crisis, as you're calling it in your Western world at the moment. But you're approaching the death period. Conquest and woe for 7 years, and then war and famine for 7 to 14. Sorry, war and famine. Was it? It's war and death, or is it? Yeah, I think it's war and death. War, like famine, is part of death, war. It's not very explicit. It's just these periods where you see these things. So I always kind of thought like a coronavirus was only like when the waters disappear before a great tsunami. Like it seemed like waters disappeared during COVID, and I thought something massive was just going to influx in. It might still do. You never know. Anyway, where am I going with this? Death period. So yes, there'd be no children being born. It's weird because before World War II there was like loads of infertility. And people thought the government did it to them. They might have technically did do it to them, but they didn't actually. I don't think they actually got away with sterilizing half their nation. Or America, loads of people were seen to be infertile, and they blamed the government. But it sounds a bit more like death and FLM periods. I really didn't think I was a prophet. I didn't think there was anything to be prophetic about in this world. But I'm growing up. I'm 30 odd now, and I've realised that this world, it actually is was woefully miseducated and on a bad course. And prophets only usually show up when things get really bad. So things must have been getting really bad, I suppose, and things are actually, they are pretty terrible now. There's still a lot of people that are absolute just infidels. There is no such thing as anonymity, but I do believe in stupidity. If there's anything that you can find an enemy about in this world, it is just stupidity. So this, a long and slow birth pang, sort of Elisha, will consume the earth, like Christianity did consume the earth. You learn to work with the good Lord, and then that's how you figured out how to make it work. If you're not working with the good Lord, and you're gypsy cabals all over the world, royalty fighting over a holy fortune indefinitely. If you're not with the good Lord, it's a horrible thing. It's going to be a burning Hebrew bush, and it's not just going to consume like some section in the Middle East this time. They've put it all over the world. See, I wasn't like screaming and self-harming up until post-coronavirus. And I don't mean to be weird, but I heard they utilise my name in vaccines instead of just putting me on the TV and letting me teach and be likeable, and everyone was going to like me. They're exoteric and their concealment and their web of lies. They've done this workload, and they're resorting to things like this now. So, like, what I'm saying is, I'm hearing a lot of stories around about people who got the vaccinations and are having a terrible time at the moment. I wasn't again screaming and self-harming or so bothered or started to wrath before they gave the injections, which is funny. And now after the injections, I am, and people are dying like blood clots. Are really connected to me now. Marked by the beast in some way, and they thought these people will be better. Probably what I'm saying, they won't be suffering so much if we have true lordship. So there's no other way around it. All the politicians and all the world leaders can lie and conceal and cheat all they want, but there is only one true story about it, and this is why you know the true story about it. There's this guy, and it wasn't even a popular story, this happened all the time. There's this guy that got absolutely crucified, cheated and robbed, and you needed to know about it. He is your good Lord, and it's hard for him to work for you unless you know the truth about him, because you might be conspired with gypsy cabals, and they'll tell you to call him a trouble and to call him a problem and to oppose yourself and reject him, where you need to accept. That's why you go to church and you accept Jesus as your true Lord, and it's very easy. This tiny little bit of humility, I never had a trouble affording. This little bit of humility is the one thing it seems to be driving your entire world into holy perdition and destruction, that they couldn't afford this little bit of humility. And it's full of, the Bible is full of it. King Saul particularly is the best example, really. Saul or Jesus are great examples. King David and Jesus. Saul was the reigning Judean lord. And then you had this little shepherd boy who was born, and he was also technically Judean family, royalty. Grew up in a field, he was a shepherd boy. did these kick-ass things. Like, there's a war taking place. I'd love to make a King David film taking place, and he was just there, a shepherd boy, and it's kind of on his field. They were kind of having a war on King David's field. This is where King David maybe hung out with his sheep and hung out with his friends. And all these men come and they're having a war, and there's King fucking Xerxes, or Goliath, King Lee. And he's an immortal, reigning, gigantic fucking gypsy. And they're all laying out terms of the war, and they're all saying, and Goliath will conquer through you. And then just, it's really funny. I think it'd be funny, like, to have this really sly scene in the movie. I'm not sure, like, directing or vision. But then you just see, like, the scene there, Goliath stares there, like, a big throne, you know, and fuckers all around. And you just see it's like, they're pronouncing, we will be conquering through here. And then just out of nowhere, it's like, just out of nowhere, you just, like, takes his fucking head off. And it's just a shepherd boy up on the field with a sling. And he just went, and just, like, all the armies there and everything. And just this little kid on the side of the hill on the mountains. And your man's still reading out the terms and contracts, and people are like, and I was like, fuck, what the fuck? And then they realised they couldn't kill the little bugger because they wanted to make him a soldier there then. And even though he was small and dainty and little curly hairs, they realised he couldn't be killed on the battlefield either. And they all loved David then. They all thought he was the fucking shiz, like he was a mortal Napoleonic leader. But then again, you have the actual very wealthy Judean royalty. And then what do you do with the kid, you know? And it's very like Braveheart kind of thing. And he was a lord as well. Do we take him in? Do we... Oh, you can be a minstrel in my court. I hear you play a good lute. And then he's still kind of disposed to lots of envy and jealousy because people just love him more than they love him. It's very like Gladiator as well. It's like, everybody loves Maximus more than me. So... what was it called? Humility, this little humility that Saul couldn't afford. Though Jonathan, his son Jonathan, very French, is Jonathan, afforded this humility and went to meet David in the wilderness and confessed that, yes, I do believe you're supposed to be the high fucking future of Judah, or of Jacob of Israel. Blatantly some fucking hero legend that's kind of kick-ass and immortal. The shepherd king we've all been waiting for kind of thing. Blatantly. You see pictures of Saul, he's gone crazy, like, you know, he's been possessed by like serpent mind or envy. And he's just dogmatically, he wanted to kill David like this, so he went crazy. He fucked something at David, a spear, and he was hunting him. David went to Moab and he brought Japheth upon Moab. And people of Moab said, look, we know you're really cool and all, but you're bringing trouble here. We'd ask you to like bug on a bit there, King David. And King David then went off to Ziph, hanging around Ziph for ages. And he's been, like saying again, so we have one lord here who's been mutinied kind of, and cabals and stuff are being set against him, and they're hunting him. And, you know, they can't catch him, can't kill him, Mr. Stanley. He sits up there on his impregnable perch. The blacks say he's a spirit. The rangers won't go there. Never silly. And he was always one day ahead of them all, but still this never ends, and they're just chasing him around like Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry actually is Thomas and Jeremiah. That's kind of a funny thing. Chasing him around like Tom and Jerry. Jesus said when you see somebody in the future that you're supposed to recognize, he'll be a thief in the night. He'll come again as a thief. This is a King David reference. He'll be as a thief in the night. He stole the crow once or twice. Like when he killed Goliath, he stole the scroll. And everyone thought he was a champion once or twice. But he'll do it. That is being a thief in the night. When he killed Goliath, it was like being a thief. And he wrote a better tune than anybody that ever written on the face of the world. Leonard Cohen, you know. It was the most pleasing thing the Lord had ever heard. You know what I'm saying? He writes better music than him. He fights better on the battlefield. He makes better French toast. His dogs have better walk than his dogs. He doesn't even keep dogs. He's the matador. I'm the matador. He's the bull. Muhammad Ali. Trouble, you know, people being the greatest. Yeah. There's problems. So yeah, Thief in the Night. King David, when he was being hunted and persecuted and harvested and robbed, the waters disappeared from the world. The rivers started, the Euphrates the water started to disappear from the world. And just like he couldn't be harmed on the battlefield, the people that were hunting him for Saul realized they can't harm him. I was like, why are you hunting me with spears and swords into the desert and out into the wilderness of Ziph if you can't harm me? So he did this poetical thing that he stole the water jug of the captain Saul. Well, it wasn't Saul. It might have been Saul, or his captains or whatever. It's a water jug to represent the waters of the world. If you fuck with me, you hunt me, and you persecute me, your waters will start to disappear. As he had the water jug, and he had a big spear, which means if you bite down on me, like a big collateral serpent, I'll go through your head. You see this in Dragonheart, where he has his sword, and he's trying to bite down on him, and he puts the sword through his head, and it's like, if you come down on top of me, I'll go through your brain with a sword. So he's saying you can't harm me. So he's like, what the hell's the matter with you? He's like this big revelation of it's a bit of a shaming technique, I suppose. He got up and he said, your waters will disappear if you hunt me like a dog. I'm supposed to be your king, and if you harm me in any way, it'll go through your head. So that's why we see King David with the spear and the waters. I think I made a video about it. I'm sure I've made it. I'm just repeating myself now, I'm just recycling over and over again. Might have new fans, I'm just recapping a bit. Is this Sailor Man song? Oh, me, him, and Moses. Oh no, Noah. Me, him, and Noah have a lot in common. After as many expeditions, has become partial to experimenting with different brews in order to break the monotony of his life. Yes, me and Noah. He takes his hobby very seriously indeed. And much beer in the last few years. I don't drink, I hate alcohol. It really is a crappy drug. Slow working, takes so much metabolism. It's technically a poison. It's not favourable to the good Lord. Yeah, the good Lord, even might not favourable to heaven. Hate it, you know what I mean? Beer. But first we make beer. Yeah, there's a lot of King David there. And I've never even read Kings or Judges or anything about David. I think I watched a 10-minute video about it and got the gist of it. Very vulnerable to actual biblical analytics. If I do get on TV and start talking about stuff, it'd probably be a lot of people. Like, I thought Shem was a girl. Talking about Noah. Noah's kind of did his mission, completed his mission, and then lay around with nothing to do for some reason, and performed this massive feat, the freaking flood and the ark, and then lay around afterwards saying, "What now, God?" kind of, and nothing came at all. And he just started getting drunk after those years, and just lay around getting really, really pissed drunk, and then accidentally curled up with his own in his loneliness and his constantly wanting and looking to God. Got mixed up with his star children, and I thought it was a girl. I thought Shem and maybe Ham, I think they were girls. I didn't think they're kind of boys. They're probably angelic things anyway. They're probably not like gendered in the way we understand gender things. But yeah, that was pretty funny. The thought that loads of Shemitism, but star mingling and things like these caused probably the flood and destruction of the entire earth. Moses saves this little tabernacle of the ark, and then lies around on a beach and starts fornicating with stars again, or fornicating with voters again, and it just started. And that's why it's called a great shame, great Shem, a great shame. Shame, nothing to do with Shem or Noah. Yeah, pretty legendary, but that's where the word shame comes from. Shame. Oh, and it's a shame. After all that effort, that's a bit of a shame that he accidentally started fornicating. No, it's very celibate and secure, but they put the needles in me that changed me. And now, to make me more normal, So we were very secured from an absolute future of Semitism, but yeah, a bit lonely now. Well, I have Sailorman song, I have Yoda. I want to be playing guitar. It's just when I play guitar, like I kick ass, you know, and I get loads of I make it. I play a sound like, you know, it's talking about attention seeking. I play those David kind of chords that please the Lord, while other people are out like killing kids or doing whatever, or having massive orgies to draw attention from heaven or whatever the rose world do. But I kick ass when I play my few chords, and it helps the Lord recognize me in this other way. So there's a lot of hexes on me playing guitar, you know, all those videos that you see, like I am really suffering greatly. Actually, no, some of them actually were definitely in some videos it does a lot of pain. I was in at the time just trying to escape it by playing guitar, playing away nauseating migraines. Was a Kimya Dawson song. It was a methadone period, and it was pretty terrible. Where are we going with this? Long and slow birth bang, sword of Elisha, consume the earth. Elijah gifted his full testimony to Elisha. He was just sick of it. You know, he was also drinking gin, and wishing to die. So God was just like, just give all your teachings to somebody else, and just because they probably destroyed Elijah or Eliah, Eliah. It's a nice current name for a girl name. Elea, Eliah. It's funny the way Frodo was played by a person called Elijah Woods. It's pretty fucking funny. He's pretty Elijah, you know. I really don't know much about Elijah, to be honest. I watched a 10-minute video about Elijah, and I claim to know more than the Pope does about Elijah. The Pope was like, recommend everybody should read the Book of Elijah at this time. I was like, why don't you read the Book of Elijah and realize it's happening, Frankie? Freaking hanging out with Jezebel all day like King Saul. No, we're there. Ahab, sorry, I'm confusing things again. Ahab was hanging out with Jezebel. And then 900 years of gypsies were hanging out with Jezebel, and you have this upon you. Just to give you a brief update, that is also determined. The prophecy means determined. You will have infantile, bratty lords upon you. Whereas the good Lord Jesus never interfered or bothered you. You'd never hear a whisper from the good Lord and his apostles. You'd never be bothered or leaned upon whatsoever. But those kind of times you'll have